fake news, you know.
The truth is out there, and doorbell company Ring wants you to help find it.
I'm not going to let you disappear my point. And this is what happens
You know,
after
I'm
every
serious.
show.
I've seen that look in people's eye when they want to kill somebody, and she wants to have you killed.
She's probably one of the coldest individuals that I've
To
run.
welcome the fake news media, which is back there.
I know this title sounds extreme. A lot of people hear a statement like that and immediately assume I'm attacking documentaries themselves. I'm not. Some of the greatest pieces of journalism ever produced were documentaries. Some documentaries exposed corruption, uncovered crime, revealed hidden truths, and educated millions of people. The problem is not the documentary format. The problem is incentives. And if those incentives continue into the future, I believe documentary channels in 2050 may become less trustworthy than they are today. Not because filmmakers suddenly become evil, not because audiences suddenly become stupid, but because technology, competition, and economics will make it easier than ever to create stories that look real while becoming harder than ever for viewers to verify what is actually true. And before anyone says I'm exaggerating, let's start with something important. The documentary world already has a history of staged scenes, reconstructed events, misleading editing, selective storytelling, and even outright fabrication. The future problem isn't that fake content will suddenly appear. The future problem is that the tools for creating fake content are becoming unbelievably powerful. And when attention is money, there will always be people willing to use those tools. So today, I want to investigate a simple question. If documentaries already struggle with authenticity today, what will happen by 2050 when AI can generate almost anything? Most viewers watch documentaries believing they are seeing reality. That sounds reasonable. After all, the word documentary itself suggests documentation, evidence, reality, truth. But here's something many people don't think about. Every documentary is edited. Every documentary makes choices. Every documentary decides what to show and what not to show. A filmmaker might record 100 hours of footage and only use 90 minutes. That means 98% of what happened never reaches the audience. Immediately, reality is being filtered. Now, filtering isn't automatically dishonest. It's necessary. Nobody wants to watch 100 hours of raw footage. But the moment a filmmaker chooses what to include and what to exclude, a narrative begins forming. The audience sees a version of reality, not reality itself. That distinction is extremely important because a documentary can be technically factual while still creating a misleading impression. Imagine a city of 10 million people. If I spend 2 weeks filming only crime scenes, homeless camps, and abandoned buildings, everything shown may be real. Yet viewers could leave believing the entire city is collapsed. The footage would be real. The conclusion could still be misleading. And this kind of framing has existed in documentaries for decades. Now let's talk about something more serious. What happens when documentaries stop merely selecting reality and start creating reality? This has happened. One famous controversy involved the BBC series Human Planet. Questions emerged about scenes that appeared to present traditional lifestyles as if they were everyday reality when they were not. The controversy eventually led to criticism and admissions of editorial failures. Now, notice what makes this case important. We're not talking about some random creator with 20 subscribers. We're talking about one of the most respected documentary institutions in the world. If even major organizations can make mistakes or create misleading portrayals, then viewers should understand that documentaries are not automatically perfect representations of reality. Then there was the German documentary Love Mobile. This case became much more serious.
Unsere YouTube-Sendung Steuerung F hat aufgedeckt, dass eine preisgekrönte Dokumentation, die der NDR mitproduziert hat,
Investigations found that central characters had actually been actors and that important scenes had been staged. The film had been presented as a documentary. The result was a major scandal. Think about what that means. People watched the film believing they were observing reality. Instead, they were watching performances. The line between documentary and fiction had effectively disappeared. And these examples are important because they prove something. The temptation to manufacture reality already exists. We do not need to wait until 2050 to see it. One area where viewers often assume absolute authenticity is wildlife documentaries. Many people imagine a cameraman spending years in the wilderness waiting for a rare animal to appear. And sometimes that's exactly what happens. The dedication behind some wildlife productions is genuinely incredible. But not every scene is captured exactly as viewers imagine. Over the years, there have been controversies involving controlled environments, recreated situations, edited sequences, and footage that created impressions different from how events actually unfolded. Again, this doesn't mean every nature documentary is fake. That would be absurd. The point is that audiences often underestimate how much construction goes into what they watch. If a documentary wants to tell a story, it needs drama. Predators hunting prey, animals surviving impossible conditions, rare moments, extraordinary encounters. The challenge is that reality doesn't always cooperate. Reality is often boring. Reality is often random. Reality doesn't care about production schedules. And whenever storytelling collides with reality, pressure emerges to make reality more cinematic. That pressure has existed for decades. AI could make it infinitely stronger. Now let's talk about money, because money explains a lot. Most documentary channels are competing for attention. Attention creates views. Views create revenue. Revenue creates survival. This creates a problem. Extraordinary stories attract more viewers than ordinary stories. A shark attack attracts more attention than a peaceful beach day. A serial killer attracts more attention than a law-abiding citizen. A disaster attracts more attention than a normal afternoon. A scandal attracts more attention than routine success. As a result, creators naturally hunt for extraordinary stories. But there is a problem. Extraordinary stories are rare. The world simply doesn't produce endless shocking events every day. Eventually, some creators face a temptation. If reality isn't dramatic enough, why not make it seem more dramatic? Why not exaggerate? Why not selectively edit? Why not remove context? Why not create a more exciting narrative? This is where sensationalism begins. Not necessarily through direct lying, sometimes through exaggeration, sometimes through omission, sometimes through framing. The result is the same. Reality becomes distorted. Let's use Africa as an example. Whenever documentaries about Africa appear, what do many viewers expect to see? Poverty, conflict, disease, human suffering. Now here's the problem. Africa is a continent containing dozens of countries, thousands of cities, and over 1 billion people. There are wealthy neighborhoods, middle-class families, universities, technology companies, financial districts, luxury developments, modern infrastructure, growing industries. Yet many documentaries repeatedly focus on the same imagery. Why? Because poverty creates stronger emotional reactions, and stronger emotional reactions keep viewers watching. To be clear, poverty in Africa is real. Nobody is denying that. The question is whether constantly presenting one side of reality creates an accurate picture. If viewers repeatedly see only suffering, they may begin believing suffering is the whole story. That's not necessarily fabrication, but it is a powerful form of narrative selection. Now we reach the future, and this is where things become much more concerning. Historically, creating fake scenes required significant resources. You needed actors, equipment, locations, editors, special effects artists, time, money, effort. AI changes that equation. Imagine a creator in 2050. They need dramatic CCTV footage. AI generates it. They need a rare animal interaction. AI generates it. They need historical footage that never existed. AI generates it. They need eyewitness testimony. AI generates a face. AI generates a voice. AI generates a person. The cost of creating believable fiction collapses. And when costs collapse, usage explodes. This isn't speculation. We're already seeing early versions today. Every year, AI-generated images become harder to detect. Every year, AI-generated videos become more convincing. Every year, synthetic voices become more realistic. Now imagine another 24 years of progress. The implications are enormous. For most of human history, seeing was believing. Photographs became evident. Videos became evidence. CCTV became evidence. Visual records became evidence. But AI introduces a disturbing possibility. What happens when visual evidence itself becomes unreliable? Imagine watching a documentary in 2050. You see a politician accepting a bribe. You see a rare animal attack. You see a war crime. You see a disaster. You see security footage. Everything looks real. Everything sounds real. Everything feels real. Yet none of it happened. How does the average viewer verify it? Most people won't. Most people don't have the time. Most people don't have access to original sources. Most people trust what appears convincing. And that's exactly what makes this dangerous. Some people think technology will solve this problem. Maybe, but technology often creates an arms race. Detection tools improve. Generation tools improve. Detection tools improve again. Generation tools improve again. And the cycle continues. The question isn't whether AI-generated content will exist. The question is whether verification can keep pace. I am not convinced it can, especially when millions of creators are motivated by views, attention, and revenue. Ironically, honest creators may suffer the most. Imagine spending months documenting a real story. Every scene is authentic. Every interview is genuine. Every claim is verified. Then another creator uses AI to produce a more dramatic version in 1 week. Which video gets more clicks? Which thumbnail attracts more attention? Which story spreads faster? The honest creator suddenly finds themselves competing against synthetic reality. That's a difficult battle. and it may become increasingly common. I don't think documentaries disappear. I think trust disappears, or at least trust becomes harder to earn. Viewers may start demanding evidence, raw footage, source documents, verification systems, authenticity certification, transparent production methods. The documentary channels that survive may be the ones capable of proving their claims rather than merely presenting them. Because in a world where anything can be generated, authenticity becomes valuable, perhaps more valuable than ever before. So when I say documentary channels will get worse by 2050, I'm not claiming every documentary maker is dishonest. I'm not claiming all documentaries are fake. And I'm not claiming AI automatically destroys truth. What I'm saying is much simpler. The pressures that already encourage sensationalism today are unlikely to disappear. The tools for creating convincing fiction are becoming more powerful. And the ability of ordinary viewers to distinguish reality from fabrication may become increasingly difficult. Documentaries were once trusted because cameras captured reality. But what happens when cameras are no longer required? What happens when entire scenes can be generated from a prompt? What happens when evidence itself becomes synthetic? Those are the questions I believe documentary channels will face by 2050. And the answers may determine whether documentaries remain a source of truth or become just another form of entertainment disguised as reality.